Why are American and European airplanes so different? Two continents, two visions, one sky. If you go inside an airplane, you probably won't give any thought to the place where it was first created. All you want is for it to get you from point A to point B without any accidents. Nevertheless, Airbus and Boeing have been engaged in a global competition that has been influencing the skies for decades. This competition is responsible for every flawless takeoff, every long-haul flight, and every snack that is served at 35,000 feet. This is not merely a sports competition. It is a battle between philosophy and design, and it is about who gets to define what the future of flight will be. I can assure you that once you witness how drastically different these two giants are from one another, you will never again board a plane in the same manner. An account of the beginnings, how the Titans began their flight. During the early days of aviation in the United States, when pilots wore leather headgear and aviation was still in its experimental stages, the tale of Boeing began in 1916. They began with wooden seaplanes, but the Boeing 707, which was the jet that demonstrated that commercial aviation could be quick, safe, and worldwide, was the aircraft that marked their major stride forward in the 1950s. Airbus, on the other hand, was founded as a result of resisting authority. After becoming dissatisfied with the United States' dominance of the aviation market, a consortium of European nations was established in 1970 to compete with Boeing. The Airbus A300, which was their first successful aircraft, was not only another aircraft. A message that Europe could not only compete but also innovate was made by the fact that it was the world's first wide-body vehicle with a twin engine. At that very instant, the lines of opposition were established. The battle of the narrow body, the 737 versus the A320, the single-aisle workhorses, which are the planes that are most frequently seen at airports and are responsible for transporting millions of people on a daily basis, are the area in which the competition is at its most intense. Since its inception in the 1960s, the Boeing 737 has undergone a continuous process of improvement, culminating in the 737-800, becoming a popular choice among carriers such as American Airlines and Ryanair. Pilots adore it because of its rugged dependability and the fact that it gives them a more hands-on flying experience. However, Airbus began to make waves in the 1980s with the introduction of the A320, and this is where they began to change the rules. The fly-by-wire technology was implemented, which resulted in the replacement of a significant number of the conventional mechanical controls with computer-assisted systems. It meant that flights would go more smoothly for passengers. In the case of airlines, this meant increased productivity. Airbus's most recent incarnation, the A320neo, consumes a substantially lower amount of fuel than prior versions of the 737. Fuel efficiency is the company's calling card. On the other hand, Boeing brings decades of trust and familiarity to the table. At the very least, until the issue involving the 737 MAX tarnished that reputation, which in recent years has shifted public and industry perception that favors Airbus. So, who comes out on top? It is dependent on whether you are looking for cutting-edge technology or time-tested tradition. 777 against A350, the long-haul clash of the Titans. Enter the realm of intercontinental travel, and you will find that the competitors are not only more numerous, but also more expensive. When it was originally introduced in the 1990s, the Boeing 777, sometimes known as the 777, was the first twin-engine aircraft to compete with older four-engine giants. There are airlines like Emirates that have built entire empires on the 777-300ER model, which can travel 13,600 kilometers without stopping. A response from Airbus? A carbon fiber marvel that was released in the 2010s, the A350 is a svelte automobile. Because of its fuel savings, whisper-quiet cabin, and aerodynamic design, it is a favorite among airlines that are eager to save expenses without sacrificing comfort. With its ability to travel up to 16,000 kilometers without stopping, the A350-1000 can cover over half of the Earth in a single flight. In the age of jumbo jets, 747 versus A380. This is the highest level of aviation royalty. It wasn't simply passengers that the Boeing 747 carried when it was first introduced in 1970. It also carried dreams. For decades, it was the most fashionable method to travel across oceans, and its form, which included a humpback shape, became an icon. Airbus envisioned far greater things. Only the Airbus A380, which was introduced in 2005, is a passenger airplane that has a full double-decker configuration. With all-economy seating, it can carry more than 800 passengers, making it a flying metropolis in the sky. With that being said, here's the catch. The A380 was far too large for its good. Airports had a difficult time accommodating it, and airlines were unable to guarantee that it would be filled. In 2021, production came to a halt. On the other hand, the 747 had a somewhat longer lifetime, during which it continued to serve in cargo missions and even as Air Force One. The battle of the future, 787 against A321XLR. The 787 Dreamliner is a long-haul, twin-engine aircraft that has a carbon fiber fuselage, a lower cabin altitude, and larger windows. Boeing is placing a significant amount of money on this aircraft. Because of its design, it is ideal for long trips that formerly required much larger planes, because it is both comfortable and efficient. Airbus, on the other hand, is taking a risk with the A321XLR, which is a narrow-body aircraft that has the capability to fly for 8,700 kilometers without stopping. How come? Because airlines are big fans of adaptability. You will be able to win routes that large jets are unable to serve commercially if you can fly a smaller plane that is less expensive across the Atlantic and still land it on shorter runways. China's introduction is the wildcard. The COMAC C919 has now arrived. The aircraft, which was developed in China to directly compete with the A320 and the 737, is currently in use by Chinese airlines. We may be witnessing the beginning of a three-way duel in the air if it is successful in obtaining international certification and demonstrating its dependability. Both the skies and the philosophies are different. Therefore, why are the aircraft manufactured by Airbus and Boeing so unlike one another? What it all boils down to is philosophy. Boeing adheres to the philosophy of providing pilots with increased manual control, putting their expertise and experience to use. Airbus is the industry leader when it comes to fuel efficiency and the use of modern materials, whereas Boeing is dominant in specific market sectors and has a long history of reliability. Both are capable of producing incredible devices when all is said and done. Who is the true victor? You, the passenger, are the one who is ultimately able to reap the benefits of decades of intense rivalry. And what about this fight? The battle is not yet over. To tell you the truth, it's just getting started. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.